Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Thursday, the 26th of August. It's going by quickly, isn't it? This morning, I'm wearing my sweater. It's my favorite kind of day. Whoops, dude's flopping around the floor. Sorry about that. My favorite kind of day because it's chilly outside a little bit. Right now, my house is only about 18 degrees, so it means I got my fuzzy socks on and my sweater, and I'm happy it'll warm up later, but for right now, I'm great. This morning, sorry, dude needs to stop rolling around here. Let me fix this. This morning, I made the mistake of looking at my devices before I started my daily office. And maybe it wasn't a mistake because what it did was it allowed me to see something on Twitter and on Facebook that had me concerned. Um, a friend of mine, a new friend of mine, has been experiencing bullying in some form and has sort of posted and asked people that they remember that we have a responsibility to stand up for bullying. Not only must we not bully others, but if we see bullying, it is our responsibility to stand up and stop it. And I know that can seem hard. It's so easy to just walk past or to turn our head and not watch something difficult happening. But we as adults have a responsibility for other adults. As Christians, we have a responsibility to stand up for those who are being persecuted. We have a responsibility to take a chance, even if it means we ourselves might find ourselves in an awkward position. Well, welcome to being Christian. Being Christian is quite often awkward. We are not a majority. We find ourselves in positions all the time where we have to make a decision that's not popular or people don't understand it. We might seem to be moralistic or, those Jesus freaks. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a Jesus freak. I am one. I admit it. I don't think I'm all that freaky. I certainly don't think Jesus is. But you know what? If somebody calls me that, I will accept it as a compliment. But today I'd like to talk about bullying. I don't imagine that there are very many of us out there who have made it to our double-digit years who haven't been either bullied or and a bully at some point. I know that I was bullied a lot in school. Not very often was I physically bullied, although that happened once in a while, being pushed up against a locker and things like that. But I was bullied a lot. When I was in grade 7 and 8, I didn't wear my glasses all the time. But there were a couple of kids in my class when I would when I was wearing my glasses, I pushed them up on my nose. And they used to run around and call me, they call me all kinds of awful things and tell me they tell me I had cerebral palsy because I was always doing that. But first of all, it's just wrong on every level. Someone with cerebral palsy simply has cerebral palsy. There's nothing wrong with them other than what their body does differently than ours. It's been born with different genetic makeup and something went askew, and we should pray for them and encourage them and learn all about them because they are wonderful, beautiful people, just like everybody else. I was teased because I had bad acne when I was in grade 7. And I was tall and I was skinny and I was the new kid in class, and it made it very difficult to get to know anybody. I was bullied later in life. I've been bullied, I was bullied in the parish. I've been bullied by parishioners. It happens. How we deal with it is the best thing that we can focus on, though. We can allow ourselves to become angry and bitter, or we can both stand up for ourselves and teach and help others to see that bullying is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And that's a lesson that I've had to learn in my life as well. I hope I have not been a bully as an adult. And if I have, I sincerely apologize to people. That was certainly not my intent. But as a young person, I was a bully once in a while. I mean, we had bullies in school who were bullies every day. But I had my moments. I remember in grade 4 in Mr. Bender's class in Central Primary Elementary School in Listowel, Ontario, when we had a young lady named Tracy in our class, and she was in her second time round for grade 4, and she was a year older than the rest of us, but she was also physically more mature than the rest of us. That would make her, she was a teenager, and she was developing, and the rest of us girls didn't know how to deal with that because we still looked like little boys. And maybe we were jealous of her, I don't know, but the boys were uncomfortable, and so there was a lot of bullying of Tracy. And I remember trying to stand up for her, and I remember trying to steer clear and just stay out of it. And when I stood up for her, then people sort of lumped me in with it as well. And one day, right before class was to begin, the teacher wasn't there yet, and Tracy, she did nothing. I remember even where she was sitting. She was sitting at her desk beside the bulletin board, and there was a clipping about the man who tried to shoot President Reagan. It was current events. It was on the wall. She was just sitting there after recess, and just as the teacher came in, I said something mean. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it wasn't as devastating as some of the things people said to her, but it was pretty mean nonetheless. And in retrospect, I think it was probably more devastating what I said to her than anyone else because I was someone she thought she could trust. And so my bullying of her did more damage, I think, than probably the rest of the people that she could ignore. When I was in grade 7 in Niagara Falls at Princess Margaret, I really liked Wayne. Wayne and I sort of became an item later in our schooling years, and people didn't know about it because we kept that quiet at Wayne's request. I think he was embarrassed, and that in a way is a form of bullying as well, that he didn't want people to know that we were going out. And so we were quiet for almost a year and only told people on the last day of school. But in grade 7, I really liked him, and I had a crush on him. And I was, again, taller than everybody else, and I had a pencil case, and for whatever reason, a bunch of us were goofing around and joking, and I reached out and I smacked him on the top of the head with the pencil case, and it hit him hard enough that he started to cry, which of course then had everybody laughing at him and making things worse. Well, I got called by the teacher in to see her, and needless to say, I never did it again, and I did apologize to Wayne. I wasn't intending to bully him. I was embarrassed and just doing what teenage girls do when they're embarrassed and they really like a guy. But that did not make it right. In no way, shape, or form should I have ever done that to him. You can tell these things had an impact on me because I still remember them all these years later. I have always had a keen awareness of those who were being bullied, but I didn't always have a genuine desire to stand up for them because I didn't want to get caught in the crossfire. Well, you know what? Not an option. If we see bullying happening, whether it's among children or teenagers or adults at work or in our families, at school, in our churches, because bullying does happen in our churches, it's just a little bit more subtle sometimes and takes a little bit more discernment to understand what's happening. We are called upon to stand up to that. We are called to respect the dignity of every human being and to love our neighbors as ourselves. We're even supposed to love our enemies. So our call, I think, these days, especially as we get back into society and kids are getting ready to go back to school, is to recognize that bullying exists and we need to do our part in ending bullying completely, but also stepping in and running, I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for, but making sure that we help to stop it as well. We can't do it. We can't stand by and watch it. We must actively step in and do our part to end bullying. And it's not just needing a 0% policy. It is talking about that in the whole world. So as you go about your day, I invite you to think about those times when you were a bit of a bully and ask God for forgiveness in your life. To remember those times when you were bullied and offer forgiveness to those people who did that. And think about the ways around you that you see bullying happening at Walmart or at school or at work or wherever you might be. And screw your courage to the sticking place, as Lady Macbeth says, and stand up against bullying. Have a good day. God bless you. Be gentle with yourselves and stay warm. I'll see you tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.